can you use Vim to code C#? Can we use Vim to code C# productively? Now that's the question. Now, if you're coding C#, the go-to tooling normally is Microsoft Visual Studio. If you're on Windows, you'll use that, or if you're on macOS, you'd rather use Visual Studio Code. Now, I am on a MacBook Pro, so which means I have to go with Visual Studio Code. But for the last few months, I have been using Vim to code my C#. I was actually coming from a background where I had a setup where I did code my front-end JavaScript using Vim. So I was actually just trying to do the same for C#. So I just want to find out if it is actually feasible and productive to do that. Now, to be able to code C# using Vim, you need to have a few things. First, since you are on a MacBook Pro or since you are on a Mac OS, you will need .NET Core cross-platform tools. So you need .NET Core, that's the first, and you need the CLI for that. You need to have the SDK. I have installed that. And the next thing is you need to have a Vim editor. Now my choice is NeoVim, but I was also using GVim, MacVim, some other variants as well. So any of those variants can actually work. There's also one more thing we need. We need a proper tooling for Vim, because Vim doesn't understand C#. So we need Vim to understand C#. We need some kind of tooling that actually gives that functionality to Vim. Now that's nothing other than OmniSharp. Now OmniSharp is an open source project that talks to the Roslyn server, which is a language server which runs language server protocol, and it can give that language features that we normally use, like IntelliSense or navigating to the definition of a type, stuff like that. So that's my setup. I want to talk about the setup at the end of the demo as well, but what I'm actually trying to do in this video is to show you the workflow as to how it is to use Vim to code C#. I'll do so by actually creating a new solution, a new project, and doing some coding with it. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm on a terminal here. I'm using iTerm as my terminal, so it's on full screen, so you can't see anything else here. What I want to do is to create a folder. So I'll actually just go with one of those expenses things that I normally do. So I'll create a folder. I'll actually navigate to that folder, cd expenses, and I'll launch a Tmux session. Now what Tmux would allow me to do is to run Vim and a terminal on the side, so I could actually show you guys as I actually just type commands, and we could also see the code to the side. So I will open my editor here, and we don't have anything here actually. Let me just go to the file navigator. There's nothing in the file navigator. I'll also open another pane of terminal to the side, so I could actually just run commands here. What I want to do now is to create a project called maybe console. Let's create one of those folders, and I want to actually just create a project there. So I'll create mkdir, use proper naming, expenses.console. Looks better, isn't it? Now I'll go inside of there and I'll create a project. So let's have a look at my .NET version, just for you guys to refer if you want to. That's the version I'm using. If you go .NET New, now there are multiple templates that you could use. Now there's one called console that actually just creates a console project. That's the one I'm going to use. So I'll say .NET New Console, run that. and as you can see, it created a project for me. We just quickly go into my editor, refresh that by pressing R. So I have expenses.console and I have the program.cs, and it seems to understand C# code, as in it can actually highlight the code. It doesn't really understand anything. As you can see, I got a red arrow at the bottom, so which means it is not really able to understand the types of C# or anything. And that's something we expect it to do. Well, why is it failing? Now there's a reason for that. When you open Vim, if it actually just tries to resolve OmniSharp, and if it couldn't do for some reason, then it'll actually just stop trying to do that. It'll actually just give up. Now that's what has happened in this case, because we didn't have the project set up before, and we just set it up and we haven't even actually built it. Let's try to build the project while we are here. So I'll say .NET build. Oh, now it is restoring stuff. Looks like it is actually missing something. Now that's very interesting. I didn't expect it to do that. Why is it missing that? Aha, I think the problem is that we use console as a name in here. What I would do, because we are having two consoles here, that's my bad. What I would do is, for this expenses.console, I would rather change the namespace to expenses.call. I'm sorry guys, I just have to do that. I think now it'll work. Oh well, that's something else to remember hereafter. Let's just run this. Okay, so that works fine, but Vim is still actually not happy. Let me just quickly quit Vim, restart it, go to our project and open this C# file. Quickly see if we could get any completion. No, it cannot really help me. Now there's a reason why it cannot actually do that. Now actually I spent some time trying to figure that initially, but there's a good reason for this. OmniSharp expects a solution file to be in the folder where we actually just code. And actually without having a solution file, when you have multiple projects, it doesn't really know which one to run and which one to load and stuff like that. So in any project that we normally have, we actually create a solution, and Visual Studio does that by itself. Like, we don't even say that it's an implicit thing there. So I'm just going to save it as it is, and I'm going to go back here to the main folder, and I'm going to create a solution. It's .NET new SLN. My bad again. So I created a solution file now, and if I can go here, there you go, expenses.sln. Now that solution doesn't have the project included in that solution yet. So what we need to do is we need to create we need to add the project to the solution. Let's say .NET SLN add, and we would say expenses.console cs project. So we ask the CLI to add our project to the solution. Add it. Okay, so I'm not sure if actually Vim is able to recover from that. It is not able to do that normally. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to run it again. Now we have the solution, we have the project, and it should ideally work. Let's go here. It had a small thing there. There you go. So as you can see, it actually took some time for the OmniSharp server to kick in, and after that it's going to be instantaneous. So as you can see, there you go, there's no latency or anything. So that's not that bad actually. So which means it is working. So I could also build this. Let's build it. and I could run the solution now. I'm on the solution folder, as you can see, .NET run. It couldn't find a project to run. I think we'll have to say what the default is, or we'll have to say what the project is. Well, anyway, so it was able to build it. Now let's see what OmniSharp is able to do for us. As you could see, it could actually just do auto completion. What I would do is, to this console project, I'll probably add a model. So I say models. Let's go to proper naming models, and I'll create an expense.cs. Let me open it on another pane here. Namespace expenses.co.models. That's how we normally name them. I'll scaffold a class here as well. Expenses is a good name for that. I'll probably add a prop. I need an ID for that. I'll add another prop. I think a description. I'll also add an amount, maybe a decimal amount. As you can see, it is able to validate the code now. So if there is a problem, if there is an error, it shows that error. Let's say that's an error, so those two arrows in there, and I could actually just move there. You can see the typo names where decimal could not be found, so which means it can validate. So there you go. So I added that. So good. I'll also add another folder here now. I'll say calculator expenses calculator.cs. Okay. Namespace expenses calculator. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here, but just scaffold the class. Nice. Okay, let's think that we just want a calculator to add the total of all expenses or something. So let's say public decimal calculate total, and we get the list of expenses. And there you go. I'll probably have a var total is equal to 0.0 m, and then return total. Now, so there's a problem here that we are missing a reference here. Now, we don't normally remember all these references. We expect the editor to be able to actually fill that in. So OmniSharp is able to do that. So let's just save this one. We could say OmniSharp fix usings. I think, yeah, it auto completed that for me. If I run that, it'll actually just complete all of that for me. Now I have actually just mapped that to one of my shortcuts, so I don't really have to do that like that. I don't really have to type it all the time. I could just enter my shortcut keys. Now, with this being here, our normal way of coding is actually not to actually code like this. Now, I don't have much of a body in this method. What I want to do is I want to write a test, and then I want to be able to validate it. I want to fail the test, and then I want to change the implementation so that the test passes. So while we are here, let's actually just create a test project. I'll create a folder, expenses.test, and I'll go to expenses.test, and I will create .NET new. Now there are some unit test project templates, I remember. So it's, well, I can see XUnit at the top. Let's just navigate up. There's NUnit test, there's NUnit, So there are multiples of these. I'm going to use NUnit. So let's say .NET new NUnit. I was trying to create the expenses.tests project. There you go, it has created that for us. If I just navigate to the folder here, expenses tests are there, and it has also created one of those unit tests. Anyway, I also want to add this to the solution, so let's add that to the solution. Me step back from here, .NET SLN add expenses test, and that's CS project. Added that to solution. Cool. So let's see if our unit test is able to figure this one out. Now our unit test doesn't actually contain much anyways. It's only the defaults. What I want to do is to see if I could actually resolve our unit our expenses calculator from here. So normal setup is, I'll actually just create a new one. I'll call expenses calculator test.css, and I'll need the setup, or at least a test. So let's just go namespace expenses test and say class. That is nice. And I would say test, and I'll say public void should return total for 2 expenses. I don't know. There you go. I probably need this one. Now it did not resolve this. Now that's a surprise to me. That's cool. Now what I need to do is I want to create one of those calculators. I'll say var calculator is equal to expenses calculator, and I'll say calculator dot. It doesn't know what that is. Right, now there's a reason for this. We need to add the console project as a reference to the expenses.tests. So let's add this. Let's just go back here, go to test, and I'll say .NET add. Look at the help, .NET add, and I will have to say project and the command. So the project is CS project we have here, and we want to add a reference, add the reference, and I'll have to say reference is expenses console and CS proj. That was added, not a problem. I'll see if it can actually just get hold of that. Now I couldn't do that. As you can see, it even actually got rid of the other one. So I added the reference, but my OmniSharp is not able to figure that one out because the project and the solutions changed, and it is not able to figure that out that easily. I could also end the OmniSharp instance here, OmniSharp stop server, I think, and I could start it again. Start server. Now, I'm not completely sure if it'll fix that. Let's see. It's going to take some time to figure that one out. No, it was not able to do that. So let's go here and build the solution first and see if it actually builds properly. Now we got some problem. The tests are not able to figure out the expense calculator. That is a non. Now I'm just going to quit from here, and I'm going to do the same trick I did before, as I changed the solution. Now I'm going to come here. I could actually hand code this one, but I want to be able to figure this one out by OmniSharp. It cannot still understand where this is. Oh, actually I'll have to say that as well. That was a missing piece. Sorry about that. Maybe actually it took it. I didn't have new there. So okay, so it was able to figure that one out. Now we don't do these project changes that often. Now I have actually just mapped my OmniSharp start server and the stop server into some keystrokes as well. So when I have to, I can actually stop and start them, and it usually works. But anyway, so since we have this here, what I want to do is I want to get the total var total equivalent to calculator dot. So you see it is able to figure out, oh, I got some error here because I have some completion thing added for the methods, which I have to disable. It is actually one of those test features that I have enabled. I have been trying this to create a new list of expenses. So let's say a new list expense, and I'll actually just resolve those dependencies there. Somehow it is actually just losing some of those. It's missing the generic type. So I don't know why, but let's see. Expenses dot add. So because we don't have that reference, it is not able to figure that out. So using system.generic, system.collections.generic. I would expect it to actually just figure that one out by experience, by itself. Anyway, add. I would have new expense. I'll say ID equivalent to 1, description is equivalent to large, amount is equivalent to 12.5 M. Okay, and I'll use the OmniSharp code formatter for that, and so that's just one of those, right? Okay, I need to add the semicolon at the end, so let me just get rid of that just to be clear as to what I'm doing. Could I have done this differently in here? Yeah, I could have. So let's just paste this here so I don't have to do this. So I'll change this. I'll probably change this to, I don't know, 13.5 or something, and that's going to be, let's say, beer. I got the total. What I want to do is assert I equal, and I would say 13 should be 26 M, and actual should be what? Total that we got. There you go. Oh, we need to add a comma here. So far not that bad. What I'm going to do now is build this, and I would run the test and see how it goes. .NET test. I don't know if we actually just run the test on the solution if it works. It actually works. Now it's expected it to be 26, but it was actually 0 because we have not implemented it. Now we are actually on to the real things. Now I will go to my expenses calculator, and I would do this. Now before we do that, let's just do one more thing. What we can do is we can do a .NET watch test. Now what that would do is actually watch for the code changes and it'll rerun the test. Now it is not able to do that when you are on a solution and when you don't have a project in the current folder. So what you need to do is you need to go -- project, and you have to head, or you have to direct the project. So let's just do that without navigating to. We could also navigate into that folder, but what I'm going to do is show which project it's going to work on. I did not do that. Now that's an interesting one. Look, I have a feeling it should work, but it did not. So let's just go to the test folder and say .NET Watch test. That seems to work. So there seems to be some problem with that project. And I don't think it's actually a problem with the setup. I think it's a problem with .NET Core tooling somewhere. So let's just change this one. Expenses dot each. Is there a for each? Yeah, there's a for each. For each, what I want to do is I'll get E total plus equals to E. Okay. Right, cannot be applied to. Oh, actually, it has to be amount. What am I doing? Okay, so that should perhaps fix that for me. Cool. Oh, there were two tests. Okay, right, because we also have the tests that were created as a default for us. So we have all the things we need. So this is how we actually just how my coding is normally is. It is a bit of a mess actually when you initially set up the project, because how the OmniSharp server works is a bit different. So let me show you, like you have seen my terminal setup and everything, but my my configuration for CSharp is more like that. So I'm using OmniSharp Vim, and I have some configuration here, and I have some mappings that I have done as well here. So multiple mappings here for doing different things. So I have find types and find the usages and stuff like that. Let me show you that real quick. So I'm in the calculate total. If I want to, so I'm in the expenses here. If I want to go to an expense, I could actually just say find implementation of that comma fi, and I have mapped it, so you can map it to anything. So I can actually just go to that expenses. I can find the usage of this one, and it'll show all the usages here, and I could actually just go to one of them. I could also navigate through them by using a very easy shortcut that I would not go into details, but you can actually just do that. And while you are here, let me actually just get rid of this. While you're here, you can also search for files as in types that are referenced from or in this class. So that is I think it is FS. So these are all the members that we have in the current project, as you can see. So everything is in here, and it's very easy to navigate through this, and that is also coming from OmniSharp. So I could go to the main method. I can just type a method name. So calculate total is one of those methods, expenses is one of these, one of those classes, and I could actually just navigate to that. And it's very powerful. I don't really compare as to if it is powerful than Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio for that matter. But what I do know is if you're actually used to Vim and Vim's style of coding, and if you're really fast in Vim, that project setup is one of those things that I think I actually enjoy doing that in .NET Core tooling, because I get to understand what's actually happening under there, like what are the commands that are run and what really happens, and which changes do happen in the project setup and in the solutions. So I like it. Then again, Vim, I'm so used to Vim, so it's in my nature, and it's in my muscle memory. So it's very easy for me to actually just go through and navigate through these ones. So that is what it is like to code C# with Vim. So I wouldn't actually just talk about how to set this environment up, and I don't really think that you should actually just switch to Vim if you're actually just coding using Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio. But if you are a Vim user, I think you might actually just consider that, and then, like, it's not that hard to set it up. If there's need for that, I could do a session, a video, upload the video as to how to set it up step by step. So let's see how it goes. But anyways, it was fun actually just doing this experiment, and I hope you got something out of it, and thank you for watching this video. Cheers guys, see you next time.